Welcome to the Meeple Show. My name is Sen Fung Lim, and I'm your host. Daryl's already off on his way to Europe, and he'll come back with all sorts of goodies for us to listen to and watch as he's there meeting with Space Cowboy, with one of my favorite designers, Leo Colavini in Italy, and all sorts of other folks. But we're still at the Gathering 2015 on the last night of the event, and I'm here with Jani and Tero most I'm gonna feel like Daryl here. Moliis, and they are first-time attendees all the way from Finland and actually Mexico. But they're brothers. Don't worry, they're brothers. They look pretty much exactly alike, and you can tell them because they wear matching shirts all the time. So why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us about who you are and how you got here and why you're here.
All right, I'm Tero.
I'm Jani.
And we are game designers. We are here because we have a couple of published games through the years, and many of the publishers have gotten to know us during this time, and we were recommended to partake in the Gathering of Friends for the first time. Very excited to be here, and it's been a great really opportunity to meet with amazing people.
Yeah.
Excellent. So tell me about your lives outside of game design. Jani, you work in...
Yeah, I'm in consulting.
Okay.
I'm in head of consulting for an ICT company in Finland.
Okay. And Tero?
And I work for two companies. One designs apps and video games, and the other one is dedicated to landscaping and gardening.
Oh, cool. Interesting. And how did you guys get into game design, board game design?
Well, we've played games all our lives, and then kind of 10, 15 years ago when the new wave of games started coming out, and we realized that we liked playing games like Settlers and Carcassonne, and we started thinking about how difficult can it be to design a new game. So we tried it out. We realized that we get things to a pretty good level pretty quickly. So then we started kind of thinking about, well, hey, maybe we could even get published one of our ideas. So we just approached the friendly local game store in Helsinki, asking if they would be interested in publishing games. And we were very lucky and happy that basically the first meeting that we had with them, after that they wanted to publish our first game, which ended up being Hornet.
Right. And then that was picked up for international distribution through Z-Man and through some other things.
And Asmodee in Europe. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then so that was a very good start, and after that it was very easy to continue doing game design every now and then presenting it to publishers.
So your first foot in the door, after that things get much easier, you think?
Well, yeah, in a way getting a game published helps, but much more, what helps much more is that you get, when you go to fairs and then you start meeting the publishers, when you start having contacts, you start learning what kind of games different publishers are interested in, so you know what to pitch to the different publishers. And this is a great market in the sense that all the publishers, everyone's really approachable. It's very easy to make those contacts.
Right here at the Gathering.
And in general as well, of course, much more so here at the Gathering.
But also, I mean, a key thing is the time effect. So, first time we were in Essen, or first time we were in BGG Con, it was really hard to get a meeting with any publisher or anybody, because you're really a nobody knows you. And but as the years go by and you meet them in conventions and you meet them again and again and you become more friends and have a few beers along the way, then it gets easier. So time is of essence, and it's very important to sort of not only make good games but cultivate the relationships and really work on the human side of the business.
So step one, make good games. Step two, ply them with alcohol. That's what I'm hearing.
That's it. That's about it. Yes.
Tell me about gaming in Finland, because Finland is kind of like this mystical place across the ocean that we don't really know much about over here in the United States and in Canada. So when we see games like Eclipse and things like that coming out of Finland, we wonder, where do these people come from? But apparently you guys have been playing games for as long, if not longer, than North Americans have, in terms of the new wave, like you call it. And what's gaming culture like there, and design culture specifically?
I think it's pretty strong. I mean, it's not it's not as strong as in Germany, for example, but it's somewhere, I would say, somewhere between Germany and the U.S. in terms of kind of what's the popular rate of board gaming, so to say, and the kind of the active board gaming scene is very active. So you have I'd say around 100, 200 people who are very actively participating in all kinds of conventions that are held in Finland. So it's a pretty good number for a small country like us. It's 5.5 million people. The designer scene is, I'd say, even more active. So in the last 5-6 years especially, there's a lot of Finnish game enthusiasts who have gotten into designing games as well.
Excellent.
And part of that is also the mobile gaming scene, which is huge in Finland.
Yeah, you had said that.
It's one of the biggest growth markets actually in the whole country at the moment. So there's a lot of buzz around that, and then of course that's easy to combine with the board gaming scene.
Right.
The whole thing comes from, I mean, there's a culture in Finland that we play games. Ever since we're kids, there's a lot of games around, and we're sort of around games from a very early age, so it sort of feels natural to pick up a game, or hey, you want to try this new game? It's like, oh yeah, I play games, so it's not a weird concept. Like, for example, in Mexico, it's very often like, you want to play a board game, they might ask, what's a board game?
Right. And why do you think that is in Finland versus other countries, that gaming is such a part of the culture?
It's very cold outside. I mean,
Yeah,
Canadian, you know this.
See, I think the same thing. Like, so in Canada, that's all we do. Is we, in the summer we're out as much as we can be, and then in the winter we hide in our holes and we play games, and we might go out and skate and play hockey and all that kind of stuff. But board gaming is a big thing. And then in the Midwest of America, so where people like Brett Myers are from, lots of our other guests are from, they do a lot of board gaming as well. But then also down way south in states like Arizona, where it's hot, like boiling hot all the time, I saw someone say, yeah, we spend a lot of time inside in air conditioning, so what are we going to do? We're going to play board games. And it's just an interesting thing that there's, different cultures that all have this whole gaming thing about them that might actually be like climate related, so it's kind of funny.
Another theory, which I think relates mostly to Germany, but to some extent to Finland as well, is that if you have really bad TV, then people are going to play more board games.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it really bad in Finland?
It's getting better, but it's, 10 years ago we had 4 channels.
Oh.
So there's not much. There wasn't much choice.
I'm a little bit older than Jani is, so when I was maybe 12, 13 years old, there were really 2 channels. So.
2 channels. I see. Yes, and we have horrible TV up at we did when I was growing up in Canada as well. So, okay, so board game communication between the two of you. You live, Tero, you live in Mexico right now, right?
That's correct. Yes.
And Jani, you're still in Helsinki.
Yes.
And the distance between that must be, several thousand kilometers. How do you get it done?
We basically we meet. I try to go to Finland every summer with my family, and we usually sit down. We take some time, day to sort of start from scratch and come up with a novel idea or something we wanted to work on, or something that one of us had an idea about, and then we sort of grind it to a almost playable prototype phase in that very short time. We work very, very strongly. And then from there we take it to a sort of a email, Skype way of working for the next maybe 4 or 6 months, and then we will try and test the game in our own board gaming groups in each country, and then we take it to sort of the next upcoming convention, whether usually it's been SN or BGG Con, where we have then planned meetings with publishers and show them those prototypes.
Great.
So that's usually been the working
and the
plan.
kind of Skype makes it a lot easier to talk through things, and then with email, the good thing is that it forces you to write things down. So that's actually a good thing, because otherwise, if we were just living next door, we'd probably just talk about things. You'd never write anything down, so you'd never kind of document things that you've thought about, and you wouldn't have anything to go back to.
Which often works in our favor. So we go, oh, you remember that one idea we had years ago, and we go back to the Gmail, where oh yeah, exactly, this is how you describe it. So let's try this solution for this game. So it's really useful.
Good. And other than your brains and the computer, what do you think the biggest tool is that you use when you design games? What do you like to use?
Pen and paper.
Pen and
Pen
paper?
and paper is, we usually, not always, but usually we sort of divide tasks. So you investigate that area, I'll find this and let's look at that. But especially in my case, I very often take care of the sort of the visual side of it and the solutions for the mapping or how the pieces might go together. And Jani very often takes care of the more logical thing, the mathematical side of it. Not that he's smarter, but making it sound like that. But
Jani, are you smarter?
No comment.
So, is that basically your division of labor? Is typically you do the prototype or the look of it, and you do the kind of behind the scenes stuff,
Yeah,
balancing,
I mean,
tweaking?
it's not that clear cut. I mean, we work together, but that's a little bit like who takes the lead on what.
Right.
So I would have said it when you asked like the most important tool for me. One thing that comes to mind is Excel. I do the kind of the analysis of what the balance issues kind of need to be. And
Okay.
things like that.
probabilities, you know, numbers, it's a very important thing.
So, we're gonna try something here. Tero, pay your brother a compliment on his best, what you think his best game design skill is that he might not know about himself. What do you think he's really good at?
He knows everything. At least he thinks that. No, Jani is very good at receiving unexpected new information and processing that quickly into something useful. And I mean, I'll go ahead, but we have been very successful and good at making games because of that. So we bounce ideas, and then I feel Jani bounces the idea back to me, some new idea, and I do the same process, and I analyze it and I shoot it back. So we bounce ideas very quickly, so we advance very clearly. But in my opinion, that's his best attribute.
And Jani, same question. What does Tero do really well about game design that he might not even know he does?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of, again, Tero knows everything as well, so it's a difficult question. But I think the kind of the related to what he just said, the kind of the out of the box ideas to have kind of even crazy ideas about something. But hey, how about if we do it like this? And then, you know, crazy ideas. Sometimes they are just crazy, but then sometimes they're really, really good, and then that helps us to go further in a direction that I myself would not have thought of, because I would have been more limited to what we already have on the table.
Excellent. So let's talk about failure, because your first board game must not have been your immediate success. How many did you make before you had your first published game? What do you think?
That was our second game.
Your second game. Oh.
So actually, yeah, we have been working on many sort of games and prototypes during our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
But when we seriously started making prototypes to be shown to publishers,
Right.
we actually designed 3.
Okay.
So we had 3 ready, playable prototypes, and we sat down with Lautapelit.fi, and they saw the first one. That's pretty good, but we're not exactly looking for something like that. Well, let's quickly look at the second one you have. And then they said, oh, this is really good, let's keep playing. They finished it, and they actually said, oh, now we want to see the third one too. And they played the third one too, and then they came back to the second one and said, this is something we really like, it's something we could work on, and actually maybe a week later they said that we want to publish.
And that was Hornet.
Great.
And the third game we have published already also in Finland, but just in Finland. So that
Okay.
was a local publisher that we had there. And the first one we still have kind of worked on it, and I would imagine that we're going to get it published at some point. We're receiving good feedback.
It's
yeah.
good feedback.
So our hit rate has really been amazing. I mean, we have 3-4 published games, and we have kind of 4 or 5 prototypes besides those that we've taken to the kind of the level that we feel that would be ready to be kind of shown to publishers.
Great.
And those are almost all now within hands of publishers being analyzed. So
Yeah.
Part of that, of course, or I have to say, to be honest, is that we are kind of, we have a rather high threshold in which games we develop that far. So we're quite easy. We're quite quick to drop out games that we don't feel that we're getting anywhere. So we let's just forget about that. So your point about failure, it's kind of fail quick.
Right.
Don't try to grind something which you don't feel like you're going to get anywhere. Just forget about it and start a new one.
And we'd had great ideas, like wake up in the middle of the night, like, wow, this is a great game idea. Write it down. Next day, Jani, let's talk, and we sort of talk about it, start planning it, and then the next day, Jani comes back to me saying, oh, I looked it up, I found a game that is exactly the same.
Right.
For example, that happens quite a lot. But then we just sort of drop it, or take the main idea or the main mechanics we're going to put in and apply it to something else. The next idea, or just put it in the data bank and use it for future. So never discard anything, but move along. Don't get stuck in the sort of the same old.
Right. So the game that you showed me that I played, the full game of Dubai, which was something else originally. I don't remember what you told me it was. That was that an earlier design that you've kind of reiterated a few times based on feedback?
Yeah.
Good. And how was response to that at the gathering from publishers?
That was very good. Yeah, especially that game was very well received, and we got 2 publishers said, "I'm very interested in publishing this game."
Excellent.
So and actually, that game especially it's the one that is based on the very first design we did.
That's what I was talking about. I remember somebody telling me, it's probably you, who said that was one of our first things, and we've been revisiting it, and we're hoping that it hits. So if you ever see After Teary by Jay and myself, that was based on our first design. So yeah, all that stuff that happened like 11 years ago or whatever when we first started designing, it comes back kind of to haunt you because it lives in your head and says, man, that was good. It just was missing something. And so we took the core mechanic of that and stuck it in another game, and it kind of melded in this happy accident. So it's kind of cool. So we're kind of running out of time, but give us first, I want to know your impression of the gathering in terms of a convention. Compare it to BGG, compare it to Essen. What's different? What's better? What's not as good? What do you think?
Well, I mean, the first initial obvious thing is that it's much smaller, so there's a lot less people, and related to that is that it's kind of a select group of people. So since you have the kind of the invitation system and things like this, it's a great crowd. So you're basically anyone you talk to is helpful in one way or another. So this is a great place to play prototypes, for example, because you have either publishers who are kind of very approachable because they're in a laid back environment, or then they're almost like professional players or test players who can give really good feedback.
Mm-hmm. Who've been playing board games for 40 years and know all tricks. They've seen everything, and they really, okay, I want to help you. And their attitude is very open. It's very helpful. But of course, as Jani said, it's a sort of a close group. So you have to work hard to be able to come here, which is an honor, and it's been great to be here. But it has a lot of benefits compared to big shows like Essen, where publishers have very little time. They're very busy. They have set up meetings already. So sort of just walking in and saying like, "Excuse me, could I show you my prototype?" It's tough. It's getting tougher. The first year we did it, we had again quite a lot of success, but there were so many fewer game designers out there. I'm seriously, even 10 years back, less, 8 years back. And now there's so many more, and the industry has grown a lot. So it has become a little bit harder. We feel that distributors have become a little bit more. They try to be very open-minded and nice, but they have to be picky and choosy with their time.
Mm-hmm.
And here you have basically they're here for 10 days. We're not here for the whole time, but you can tell that they've had a lot of time to play and do their things. So it's easy to discuss things. Even with much you get to play prototypes and things like this much more than at the big conventions.
So who did you meet here that was kind of surprising for you to see? I saw you taking pictures with like Vlada and stuff like that. Who here kind of blew your mind in terms of wow, I've never met that person before?
Well, for me, I guess for both of us, I mean, Kaelus is one of our favorites, kind of by far, by of all time, and William Atia was here, so that was cool, and that was a perfect example of the kind of the strength of this convention. I mean, we see him, we talk with him, we end up talking with him for probably like an hour. So it's just like, we go through his like history of how he got into board game designing and things like this.
Yeah, William's and he's hilarious.
Yeah,
he doesn't know he's hilarious, but he's hilarious.
Yeah, he is, and you sort of have time to get to know people and become friends. So next time we'll see him or see any of the other designers or publishers, it's so much easier again. It's like, oh, hey, good to see you again, and they will always have at least a little moment for you because you have this special connection.
It is a very special place, and it's kind of the 1 week of the year or 10 days of the year that most of us look very, very forward to. So will we see you here at the gathering next year?
We hope so.
We hope so. Yes,
yeah, that'd be excellent.
Yeah.
So every show we ask people to give advice to designers. So what you guys get two because there's two of you. So give us one piece of advice for either novice or experienced designers. What do you think they should do if they want to get their stuff out there?
My first one that I always tell everyone is that don't have more than one prototype. That's really important, because if you're fixed on one thing that you've developed and you want to take further, there's two risks involved with that. The first one is that you're limiting the offers that you have to publishers, so it's either that or nothing, which might make it more difficult. And then you might limit your own thinking, that you're now fixed on this one game that you think is the best in the world. That needs to get published. But if nobody else sees it that way, then you're just going to be stuck with that one idea. So rather go into several directions at once. Have the 3 prototypes to show to the publishers. You get the feedback from them, what kind of games they're looking for, and that way it also helps you in the future to present games that those particular publishers would like to see.
And yes, adding to that point, which is very valid, just a little bit, having many games also gives you, in the eyes of the publisher, they appreciate you more because you have a wider range of things. So try to do different types of game, and the real bonus of that is that the game you really want to show them, perhaps they said, what, that doesn't go with what I want right now, but this other game you have, that's interesting to me. Can you work on that? And so you never know what really can come up. But a real recommendation, additionally, is don't overwork your games. Make sure it works, test them, but don't keep doing it. A game is never finished, so you can never have it perfect. So you must draw a line somewhere. You have to say, now it's ready, and you try it, you test it, it works. Work on the next game, so you sort of don't get stuck on doing it forever. Which happens a lot.
And that's part of our style, I guess, also, that the level of the games that we take them is kind of at that point. If they work, you can understand how it works, but like, for example, graphically they're not by far not finished products, and that gives us the opportunity to get feedback from publishers and modify it in some direction. You're not vested into it too much yet.
What is your favorite game that you played at the gathering this year?
Yeah, we didn't get to play that many games because we're busy with all kinds of stuff. But of the games that we played, all right, I'm gonna go. What was it? Beastie Club?
Beastie Bar.
Beastie Bar. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a fun, silly game, small game. I enjoyed that.
And I honestly, I spoke about so many complicated games that I enjoyed very much. Cacao, a tile-laying game, very simple, straightforward. I sort of like those kind of games. So that was probably my nicest new find.
Good. Okay, and the last question is, teach us a word in Finnish that we might not know. Yeah.
Moi. It means hello when you meet someone, coming in or seeing them for the first time. You say moi.
And kiitos is thank you. It's not a swear word. Trust me. You can safely say it in Finland.
I'm setting it up for you, so you say moi moi, which means bye bye. So it's kind of like hi and bye bye. It's moi and moi moi. No connection whatsoever.
I thought you said you knew everything.
No,
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. Kept you here a little longer than I thought, but you have so much to offer. So thanks very much for watching. moi moi to all you guys out there, and we'll be back with more maple syrup coming up on Wednesday. And we have lots of stuff for you guys from the gathering still to show you that I'm going to edit over the next couple of weeks as I mark term papers. All right, thanks very much. Signing off from the gathering.
Moi moi.